Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Smart and Safe Small Business Podcast. I'm here with Jennifer Mansfield, who is a brilliant CPA whose firm specializes in multi-state income tax and is here to talk to us about this important topic. So, Jennifer, thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon.
I am super delighted to be here with you, Alex.
So, tell me, Jennifer, who's your ideal client? Who do you guys typically work with?
Oh, that's a great question. We are solely focused on small business, and I'm a tax geek, so I use the tax definition of that. And so that's any business with gross receipts of $25 million or less. So we'll start out with clients that are businesses that are zero, right? They're just getting started and dialed up all the way up to 25 million. But I will say, um, uh, our favorite kind of clients are those that really want to do things right from the outset, and they're trying really hard. They're being foresighted, and so they're trying to set up their systems correctly. Be very savvy when it comes to the tax laws. So those are fun clients to work with. Our second kind of client are those that they were going 90 miles a minute, and they didn't pay attention to some of the details they should have, and so all of a sudden they've got issues they need to deal with. They got plenty of revenue coming in the door, and they may now all of a sudden have a multi-state income tax issue that they need to take care of. So love working with those clients as well, getting them all straightened out and on the right track, and really being strategic with our clients in terms of just being really tax savvy. Yeah.
So it's very easy for businesses to overlook some important details such as multi-state income tax, particularly if you are moving at 90 miles a minute, like you said. So, why don't you help us understand what is multi-state income tax and why should small businesses in particular be paying attention to it?
So it's a very complicated area. And basically, let's say you're located in a particular state. Your business is located there. You live there. Most of your employees are there. Um, but all of a sudden you've grown, and now you've got inventory in other states. You have sales, significant sales in other states. You have a sales tax filing obligations. Now, all of a sudden, the states are looking to also not only impose a sales tax, but an income tax on the net income of your business. So it's really as your business grows and expands and has significant activity in states outside of your home state. So it's incredibly important to pay attention to this, because the statute of limitations, which is typically 3 years, doesn't start to toll until you've actually filed a return. So some people say, oh, that happened in 2015, it's now 2020, I'm not worried about it. Well, the states still care. So it's really important to pay attention to it and take care of it, so it's just not an issue down the road.
Especially now with COVID, right? I mean, states are completely going broke. You probably just saw this in Arizona. We've got Arizona employees too. Our UI rate jumped from 2% to 8%. So if that's not an indication that the state's going broke, I don't know what is.
Yes, Alex, I saw the same thing for our Arizona clients. I was shocked. It tripled, right? The UI rate tripled, which I'm like, I'd never seen that before. And it is. These states are under stress. They lack the revenue, and the next place they're going to start looking beyond sales tax is their income tax base. So it's
Absolutely. So
definitely.
when's the right time? When's the right time for a business to pick up the phone and say, let's start thinking about if we owe income tax outside of our home state?
And great question. And we work with our clients around around the year. We just don't look at them at the end of the year, and we monitor their sales throughout the year. And whenever we see an uptick in sales over a particular threshold, and I'm going to say, after you get over $1 million in sales, 1 to 5 million, you start to see sales into particular states higher than their nexus levels, right? Their nexus thresholds, which is around 200,000. So you want to start if your sales have started going up, and in particular, if you have sales into a lot of in particular states, and I'm going to pick on California because they're easy to pick on. California is one of those states that I always tell my clients, you breathe in California and they're going to subject you to income tax. So just really pay attention. Also, if all of a sudden you have employees in new states, you have to think about that. If you have inventory in other states, you've got to think about that too. So anytime, these kinds of things start happening operationally, it's going to have an income tax consequence.
And there's so many factors here that come into play, and unfortunately, many CPAs just don't have the necessary knowledge, skills, and experience that you and your team have. It really requires dedicated, specific training.
It does, and multi-state income tax is just one of those areas. I'm going to say, it's more complicated than the federal. I mean, federal is complicated, but the states all have separate rules. You have to, and you have to understand them. There's apportionment, there's non-apportionment revenue, there are income, there's, what if you're a flow through?
Throw
Um,
back, throw in, geez, all
Yes,
these things. Yep.
exactly. And so it just quickly gets incredibly complicated. And so you have to be working with somebody who understands these complexities and how to navigate them. Because while it's complex and there may be additional costs, but there's also additional opportunities to, if you structure things correctly, to actually minimize your overall state tax burden. So I've had clients actually move into a no state income tax, move their residence to lower their overall state income tax burden. So there's opportunities as well as risks and costs to multi-state.
So let's talk about maybe a quick opportunity for business owners. What is a valuable free action that they can do today to help understand or mitigate some of their multi-state income tax risk?
So one of the things I would do as a small business owner is pay attention to where your sales are, right? And most of the sales channel platforms have the ability to pull reports by your customer location, which is how it's allocated for state income tax purposes for the most part. So just knowing, pulling those reports a couple times a year. The other, of course, I'm a tax geek. There's some great free resources out there. I think it's always important as a business owner just to be educated about multi-state income tax. So Bloomberg, BNA, I'm not associated or related, or I don't get anything for mentioning them. I just love them because they're a great free resource. They go out and um, they survey all of the 50 states and they put together a summary of where the 50 states are headed or thinking these days. So if you go to their website, they have this 50 state executive summary. And it's not too difficult to read. So I highly recommend, just being, knowing where your sales are, and then, educating yourself on some of the issues, so that when you do go to choose a provider and somebody's going to be working on your team to assist with these, that you can ask the right questions, or you can be informed when you're making that decision.
Absolutely. So how should listeners get in contact with you if they're interested in learning more about you, your team, your process? What's the best way to
Yeah.
reach out?
Yeah, the best way is through our website, JJMansfield.com. We have a get in touch button. Just click on that, fill out the information, and we'll be in touch with you pretty quickly. And we offer a 30-minute free consultation where we'd love to learn more about, your company and how we can help.
Awesome. And we will have a link to your website in the video description below and on the blog post. So thank you so much for joining us, Jennifer. I hope you have a great weekend and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. You too, Alex.